The genius of Chris Morris is that because he just has this fantastic patrician public school confidence, but also because he's very funny, is that he could come in here now and say, I am going to ask you to punch yourself unconscious. But Chris, I don't want to. I know you don't want to, David, and I don't even care if you do. But when I say it, you will. And you will. You will punch yourself unconscious because Chris instills that kind of confidence in you where you think you will be fine, even though you know you won't, if you punch yourself unconscious.
You might temporarily think it was your idea to punch yourself in the face, and then mid-punching yourself in the face, you might think, wait a minute, I think this is what he wants me to do. You know, he never goes, punch yourself in the face! You know, he's amazing.
He's got all the gravitas and the surrealism of Peter Cook, but with this kind of self-belief that made people in World War I run in front of machine guns shouting, I love you, Captain Armstrong. There's people who are as talented as Chris, but there just literally isn't anybody like him.
At Radio 1, Chris also continued his celebrity jabbing. Here he is as Wayne Carr interviewing Peter Stringfellow.
Peter Stringfellow, welcome.
My pleasure.
Hi there. Now, Stringfellow's the name. Was it simply the name?
Well, you mean, was I born with it? Yes.
No, the clubs. We're talking about a man whose name is synonymous with fun and clubbing. Stringfellow's the name of the club. Was it simply the name?
You mean simply the name that made the success?
Okay, well, listen, I guess we'll come back to that if you're having difficulty. Question 2, what about the name Stringfellow? Shares 60% of the letters of the word nightclub. Is that why you named your club Stringfellows?
Okay, no, let me explain that. When I first started in 1960, number one, Stringfellow didn't have any glamour in those days.
Apart from having written Hiawatha. Yeah.
Well, okay.
And the different range of people you attract, a huge range of people, don't you?
I do that deliberately.
Yeah, from Sloane's, you got the Jet Set, rock stars, the Plunties, the Siders, the Riders, and the Hex. They're all there.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
you know, my door is very wide. If you make the effort and you look good, you can come in. Because basically, we're all of one type, you know. And I find it nothing more boring in a nightclub than when it gets very narrow. I personally wouldn't be comfortable
in a narrow club.
In a narrow club.
Because you're a wide kind of person yourself?
Yeah, I think so, you know.
All right, so say I am a typical 90s person, right? Say I'm a Plunty or a Cider. I come in. Do you say Plunties over there, Ciders over there, Hex over here, Jet Set over there? Or can
but very, very quickly, everybody knows where to stand in their own patch.
But you see a Plunty come into the club. He's looking a little bit down. Would you actually go up to him?
Yes, I do that.
What would you say to a Plunty who came in?
I just say, hey, nice to have you in. Welcome to the club. Let me get you a drink. Once they're in the club, I'll look after it.
What are those sequin heck hats? That would be okay.
It depends how he's wearing it, how the rest of it look.
What kind of cuisine do you give them?
Well, in the early days, we used to have, of course, like everywhere else in London, you had your menu in French.
You had your menu in?
Oh, yeah.
Do you like violin players?
Do I like who?
Well, you say you had your menu in. Are violin players the sort of people that you actually have in?
Vinnie Jones comes in, and he's a great guy. He's in it violent. You just let him sing occasionally.
He's not a violin player, is he? No, would you have you had your menu in and Stefan Grappelli say?
Yeah, why not?
Listen, let's talk about Cabaret of Angels.
I love to talk about the Cabaret.
Okay, but first, actually, let's not, because it's a little bit cheap to be so eager to plug yourself. Let's talk about your early life. Now, you lived in a one-up, one-down.
Yes, I did.
Now, that's a kind of micro-habitation. Can you imagine anything smaller and yet still possible?
No.
We've been doing some concern features and did actually speak to somebody who lived in a one-up, no-down, which was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that's a terrible thing. That should be stopped immediately. In fact, there's a lot of things should be knocked down.
Yeah, and in fact, you know, there's one up, no downs. You get the horrible effect of the planes flying underneath you.
Yeah, well, you know, I've had a few of those too.
Right. Now, let's go from that kind of micro-habitation right to the Cabaret of Angels. And before we get into that, may I say that it is great that someone actually had the guts to come out and put a ban on the, you know, the fat chicks. Because you get a lot of grief for that, and I can't see why.
But it got like this, you see. What it was is that I was saying that there's a percentage of very fat people who, when they go out at night, don't make an effort. They've given up. And I was saying, if you've given up, please don't come to Stringfellows.
If you go to a whole club crowded out with arse women, then it's you wish they'd keep their fat features at home, really.
Well, you see, that's where the hypocrisy came in, you know. Everyone was saying, oh, this is terrible. And I said, okay. What do you think about this wonderful word, which I hate, called politically correct?
Oh, dear,
I refuse
PC.
to be politically.
I say be impolitically incorrect.
Okay, I'll go for that one too.
Yeah, it's the ugly ones that are the problem. I guess.
You should read some of the mail, what they've called me, man. Wow.
Yeah. Is it because they don't actually fit with the image of the high-profile people, the Plunties, the Siders, all the rest of them in there? Is it because they don't actually fit with those kind of people?
Look, I save a lot of people from having a miserable night by refusing them entrance. In other words, they can come in and feel really out of it.
Out of it in the bad sense. So we're not talking MDA. We're talking I'm in the wrong place.
Down. Oh my God,
You feel right down your leg, and you find even your calves are fat.
Yeah. You know what it's like.
What about someone like Madonna? Say she wanted to come and she'd grown a little blubber sack around the coccyx. Would you let her in?
Of course. Are you crazy? I'm any celebrity and a star is a star. The public doesn't look at a star and think anything except here is a star. I think Madonna is fantastic.
Isn't she great?
I think she's incredible.
She just, what she does for women. And she has the sense to shape up. I mean, she goes jogging, she makes her body nice, and she's a real hard body.
And she gives herself over to her business.
Wouldn't it be disgraceful if she allowed herself to go to seed and became like some piece of baobab tree so wide you couldn't get round
sad?
it?
And we're talking to all age brackets here with Brigitte Bardot, who was the absolute sexiest thing on two legs
and now,
in the 60s.
what a bloater.
Oh, so sad, isn't it?
Seriously,
if I was it, she should have.
She should have topped herself.
Sure. Well, that's why I don't want to be a lady.
Sure, now let's look at the way the new club works. How does it work? You've got a no-touching thing going on, but with money.
Okay. People in England just don't understand the concept yet. This is a very sophisticated, heterosexual environment for corporate kind of males who have a sophisticated side of life to them. Beautiful girls taking their clothes off at the table side, not walking around naked or semi-naked.
Right.
Nothing like that. And of course, it's not for the boys either, with all respect. This is a man's place,
A guy's got a grip on himself.
Absolutely.
A man who knows his place in the world, knows how to handle himself.
I think that's a reasonable description.
The successful male.
Right.
A man who wants everything the way he has it, because, let's face it, he's worked damn hard for it.
Right.
He's the kind of guy you're creating this environment for because of the rejection problem.
Look, every man, once he's left his incredible young youth to one side, and even when he was young and beautiful, he was rejected by some girl. Let's say he goes into a bar and he sees a beautiful girl, asks her if she'd like to have a drink, and she says no. That's rejection. He doesn't like that. He's not used to it.
Let's look at a genuine rejectile, and let's look at the downside of this that you're helping to alleviate. If a 44-year-old man is rejected, how old does he feel inside when that happens?
50, 60. He's ready to give up,
It's rather touching in a way to feel that these people are being, in a way, protected from that, which can bring a man down.
Well, it does bring a man down. Now, here is an affluent man who knows his business, and he maybe has a staff of 100 people, and they all listen to everything he has to say.
Certainly the defining thing you seem to be saying about your average client is that they are the sort of person that has a staff.
In the main, that's a pretty good description of my clientele.
And would you say that was a defining feature in a way, that he had a staff and he absolutely knew how to handle it?
Absolutely.
If you came back as an article of clothing in the next life, what would it be?
Oh, that's an easy one. It would be white, it would be slightly frilly, not too big, and it's known as a G-string. Girls.
And
that would suit me fine.
Would you like to wear it?
That depends entirely. I mean, I wouldn't be seeing too many faces, would I, down there? So
you'd be looking out at your clients and giving them a wink and saying, well done, mate, put another fiver in there.
I certainly wouldn't want to be a shoe, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want to be a shoe. Cotton or nylon or?
Oh, now we get into it. I'd be quite happy to be a little cotton one because I like cotton. I think that's
Cotton's
gorgeous.
Nice.
But,
absorbent.
a slight little silky one with a little bit frilly edges. That'd be nice.
Hung up on a bedpost and getting a little bit excited about the next time you're going to be worn.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's what I would do.
So that's what you'd like to be. Seriously, even if you only had a very limited consciousness.
We had a bit of a conversation last night in the club about this. And,
I can
the
imagine.
guy was saying he'd like to be a woman for a couple of weeks. I said, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And all the guys, with the exception of me, would like to be a girl for a week.
And you said, guys, you can be women, I'd be a G-string.
Well, actually, I kept that one quiet, love, because the one I was wearing at the time was getting a bit tight.
But you wouldn't want to be a G-string on yourself, would you?
No, absolutely not.
You want to be right up in the soft, warm recesses of a twat.
You can't actually say that, can you?
Let's be honest about this.
But let's use the right words. Let's use the word vagina, not twat.
Yes.
Mop, mop.
Somebody interviewed Stephen Hawking.
Yes.
Have you ever met the guy?
No, but I rate him highly.
Okay.
One of my heroes.
Well, listen, I've got a clip of that. because this guy knew I was interviewing you, and he asked Stephen Hawking about you. Do you want to hear what he said?
I'd love to, yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me just work. It's got it
wait
on.
for this.
It's got it on a little dictaphone. Wait for this. Here we go.
Peter Stringfellow is a public menace and, in my view, should be excluded from society.
Are you sure that wasn't Doctor Who?
You mean a Dalek or something?
Dalek, was
yeah.
that-
Well, it's on one of these little dictaphone things.
No, Stephen, I know exactly that's how he has to speak, but I don't care. The man is a wonderful intellect.
He's a great... And you know what he
I'd love
said?
to sit with a few hours and have a chat with that guy.
Because he's glam, isn't he?
Well, he's a wonderful person. You got to. His sexuality is his mind. That man,
Absolutely.
Got to be to be a girl and listen to him talk about the universe
Mind shag.
and his theories on the string theory. By the way, there's such a thing as a string theory. You know, in the universe.
Hey, maybe that was his little concession
bubble
to you.
theory?
Yeah, bubble theory. Well, you're not called Bubble Fellow. You know.
Certainly wouldn't be a top club in London.
Absolutely, Bubble Fellows. I mean, weird, but no. I mean, the guy. Let's face it, Hawking. Yeah, I suppose what you're saying is his brain is the centre.
You got to look at this. That man is in the situation he is.
Yeah, he's definitely that. Yeah,
He cannot move a thing, and he speaks through
he's the last.
the machine on his throat. And yet, it wasn't so long ago that he, in the state he's in, got divorced and married his nurse. My God.
He's a kind of like a Meccano stud.
But he's living. He's still doing it. He's
Yeah,
not given up. And
absolutely.
I'd love to be in his brain for a couple of days. When I say I'd
Jesus.
like to be Stephen Hawking, I'm not being terrible and saying I'd like
Hawking.
to be with his terrible
Hawking.
problem.
Yeah.
But have his brain for a couple of days, couple of weeks.
Have his
I'd love-
brain in the club
Yeah.
and leave him outside.
Well, I don't know if one could do. Yeah.
It's been an absolutely massive pleasure, and thanks very much for dropping in. Very
My
nice
pleasure,
of you.
Wayne. I've enjoyed it too.
Okay.
Very, very therapeutic is the word.
Excellent.
Hey, Wayne, say hello to my girlfriend Christine.
Okay, this is for Peter Stringfellow's brand new flesh tube. Christine, has she got the month September written on her head?
No, she's all right. She kept going back to New York and finding it very difficult to live with me. I don't know why, because I'm so easy.
Yeah, you're a very easygoing guy. We know that on 1FM. And I tell you what, Christine, if you don't know that, then you're a bigger fool than I think you are already just for being a woman. How's that?
Watch out.
Chris Morris as Wayne Carr interviewing Peter Stringfellow.
The genius of Chris Morris is that because he just has this fantastic patrician public school confidence, but also because he's very funny, is that he could come in here now and say, I am going to ask you to punch yourself unconscious. But Chris, I don't want to. I know you don't want to, David, and I'm wrong. There's people who are as talented as Chris, but there just literally isn't anybody like him.
At Radio 1, Chris also continued his celebrity jabbing. Here he is as Wayne Carr interviewing Peter Stringfellow.
He never goes, punch yourself in the face. He's amazing.
He's got all the gravitas and the surrealism of Peter Cook, but with this kind of self-belief that made people in World War I run in front of machine guns shouting, I love you, Captain Armstrong. I don't even care if you do, but when I say it, you will. And you will punch yourself unconscious, because Chris instills that kind of confidence in you where you think you will be fine, even though you know you won't, if you punch yourself unconscious.
You might temporarily think it was your idea to punch yourself in the face, and then mid-punching yourself in the face, you might think, wait a minute, I think this is what he wants me to do. You know, he...
Peter Stringfellow, welcome.
My pleasure.
Hi there. Now, Stringfellow's the name. Was it simply the name?
Well, you mean, was I born with it? Yes.
No, the clubs. We're talking about a man whose name is synonymous with fun and clubbing. Stringfellow's the name of the club. Was it simply the name?